It is so hot in here. Testing. Can people hear me? Tell me if you hear me, because I've had a problem with this today. Should I was trying to record something and mic wasn't picking up. All right, that's because I was wondering. I was thought it would work. Sick myth. Good evening. It's about to rain here. It's about the thunderstorm. It's not fun in this room. It's very hot in this room. What's up, MM? Yeah, it's kind of dead. The chat's kind of dead. Carmelo Anthony. Yeah, I don't know, man. 35 years, eligible for parole after 17 and a half, I think. I mean, you would like a longer sentence than that, I feel, but at least they found him guilty. 35 years for murder. That's what I'm saying. I mean, 35 years, that's, you'd figure it would be around 50 years. I mean, but even those life sentences, all that stuff is so you get life sentences, but then you're eligible for parole after 20 years. Well, then it's not a life sentence. It's just weird how they do that. It's irritating. You ever see where they say it's a life sentence and then they're eligible for parole after 20 years? Well, then it's not a life sentence. Cool video on Bitcoin. Are you gonna invest? I might invest into Solana, which is just like a more higher volatile Bitcoin. But yeah, I mean, Bitcoin. I was just interesting topic to me, so I decided to make a video on it. Did you think you'll ever make any more political content on the Iran war? Content is such a joke. Did you hear Trump's comments about inflation? He loves it now. The war has to end. Yeah, I think the Iran war is that's kind of been played out, man. I don't really know. It does people don't even want to they don't even care. That's the thing is people don't really care about the Iran war. It's drawn out. It's the same thing over and over again. It's just annoying to talk about the Iran war. So I prefer not even to talk about it or really the administration. You look at the administration, what's really happening? I don't really see much happening, so it's hard to make a video in regards to the administration or politics, honestly. I guess what's happening is the Iran war, but even the Iran war, it's like it's been at a stalemate for months, and then, oh, Israel struck Iran, then Iran struck Israel, then they just blame each other. And it's like, do people just get tired of going around like a fucking hamster on a wheel? Where we have to do this thing like, well, Iran struck Israel, so Israel should be able to respond. This is the problem. Why do I care? I don't care. I really don't care about a Middle Eastern sandbox fight. But we have to care because Trump is obsessed with this war. You see the Crockett clips? She's a retard. Most of those liberals, they shut up about the Austin Metcalf case because they know how it's a horrible. I mean, all those people, all those black people that were out in support of Carmelo Anthony, they're all liberal. They vote liberal. They down ballot. They're part of the Democratic Party. But a lot of the smarter liberals don't even mention it. They don't talk about it. The race tribalism within the black community. But she's dumb enough to actually talk about it and try and excuse him murdering Austin Metcalf because the knife was smaller, I guess. They think that's the new thing they're trying to go with. But you know, they're perpetual victims. They always have to be the victim. An 18-year-old white kid dies, but they're the victim somehow. Okay. It's amazing. And then it's funny how they try and manipulate the jury when all the studies show black tribalism is the number one problem when it comes to juries and people being biased. By far, that's the number one biggest issue. Is if there's a black person on the jury, there's a much higher chance they're going to side with the black person who is in the case. And it's all been documented, it's been studied. And then they say, well, there's no black people in the jury. Well, yeah, if there were, it'd be ridiculously biased. We know that based on statistics and in-group racial preference data that's come out. You think that even if Bitcoin goes to around 500K in 2034, it gives an incredible opportunity to make money by investing at least a portion a month? Well, I mean, my goodness, man, 2034? I mean, if you really believe in Bitcoin at that point, you might as well start investing now and you'll be in a much better position. You start DCAing now for the next year and a half, you'll probably be in a pretty good position. If you want to be more aggressive, wait until October or November and then dump a lump sum into Bitcoin. I agree, it's insignificant at this point. Yeah, I don't think the Iran war is really worth rehashing. There's nothing to even rehash about it or talk about. I mean, it's a never-ending nightmare for the administration. Really, it is. And the thing was, even if they get into the Iran war, it's horrible optics for Trump because everyone was already saying, all the Gen Z kids, they're like, we're right, Trump's a cuck to Israel, and it's like, oh shit. Well, maybe we can get out of it within 2 or 3 weeks. No, we can't do that either. Now we're in it for a month. Now we're in it for 2 months. Now we're in it for 3 months. Now there's no end in sight, and it's like, you really can't even beat Iran because they're just going to wait you out. You want to bomb them to hell, it's going to destroy the economy for the next 5 months before the midterms. Like, what are your options? That's the thing. People are like, well, just finish the job. Yeah, but what does that entail? That entails a almost possibly some type of economic hardship, possibly a recession. Yeah, I don't think the lady's not going to read that out. Custard, I appreciate the donation. It was $5. Been really enjoying your dating videos. Planning on making any more? You should do a full live stream on that topic sometime. I don't know, man. You know, the weird thing about that was I was actually trying to do a style that I did back in and I looked up the video because I wanted to see if I had it. It was a style that I had previously done probably in 2020. It might have been the first actual video that did decent on this channel, or one of the first. It's called Dudes That Are Down Bad or something. Dudes Who Are Down Bad. And, I might have had like 100 subscribers or something. But it was a Twitter account. And I think the title of the account was Dudes That Are Down Bad. And so I titled my YouTube video that. And it got a bunch of organic engagement for a few months. So I was trying to do something like that with those dating videos, modern dating hellscape. It didn't really work, evidently. But that's basically what I was trying to do. And also, dude, I might have to curate my algorithm so I stop getting this stuff, because I don't need to see it. I don't need to see all this dating shit. And I think I'm starting to not see it as much on my algorithm, but I started getting a bunch of dating stuff, and I know it's if you interact with it, it's going to show you it, so. How did the Knicks lose? It's a big finals. I mean, I don't know, man. I really haven't been watching. It's like, that's such a big thing. You've got all these people doing videos on Trump attending a finals game. I don't really see I'm sorry, I just don't really see it as interesting. I'm not intrigued by Trump attending a finals game. It's not something that I could really comment on, because I just don't really care. So that's the thing with some of this political stuff, where I'm realizing maybe I need to just do things that are focused more so on I don't know, just broad politics versus this topical stuff. Jesse Ridgway, it's yeah, with Jesse, it's very tough. McJuggernuggets, I used to watch. He's one of my favorite, YouTubers ever, and I do watch his videos. So he there's a long story I could tell you guys about McJuggernuggets, but basically, he used to do series. I mean, he's retired. He's made a fuck ton of money on YouTube. You invest good enough, you'll be able to retire. He had probably 4 million subscribers, 3.5 million subscribers. He says he has long COVID. He got it. He was making a movie and whatever. But he's basically retired. He barely does videos. He's got a girlfriend. He got engaged. And so they announced they're having a baby. Well, it comes out in one of his videos, and I'm like the only, he gets like 10,000, 20,000 views in these videos. I actually watch them. And he's like, well, the kid might have Down syndrome. And people in the comments are like, man, maybe you shouldn't be putting this out. You shouldn't be putting this out. This is not a smart thing to do to your fiance. And he keeps putting the videos out, but it's like the dude it's not even like he gets views to where it's like this grift that people keep saying, like, oh, he's grifting off of it. He doesn't even really get that many views anymore to like make a sizable income off of the idea that, oh, they're going to abort their child because he has Down syndrome. I mean, listen, it's a very tough situation. I mean, with his resources, maybe you put it up to adoption. I don't know. I mean, it's very challenging, but I do think Jesse comes off as snobbish in some, when he responds and stuff like that. And I mean, he's very a know-it-all type. That's his personality. BTC above 61K. What is it? I mean, daily price action. I mean, come on, daily price action. You're a trader if you care about daily price action like that. I just wait for BTC to go on its precipitous drops every 3 months, which is what it does during bear markets, basically. At least that's what I think. So BTC will go linear, maybe slightly up the next 3 months, and then it'll drop again. Maybe that'll be its low. It normally drops in, well, I guess maybe it already did drop for this summer, but you didn't know he was still active on YouTube till you saw his tweets. He's really not on his main channel. Basically, maybe he uploaded like 4 videos in the past year. He has a secondary channel that he gives life updates on. That's where these videos come from. It's not from his main channel. His main channel is just, it's basically just getting, he gets the concurrent views off of the previous, Psycho videos and whatever, his previous series, which is fine. I mean, I get views like that as well. The evergreen videos, they're the best, but yeah, he's basically retired at this point. And dude, honestly, you can tell now he's kind of milking it. It's like, dude, really? You're going to milk this for views? I mean, this is kind of ridiculous, man. When YouTube is a weird thing, especially probably for someone like him, where you get all this fame he was probably 22, 23, and now you're 33 and you've still got your life ahead of you, but technically you have enough money to retire, but you have no clout now. Your channel's dead. So how does that play to your psyche? More and more people are going to go through that as influencers. It's like you got all this money in such a short time frame, and technically you should be fulfilled, but you're not, because you're still relatively, it's different when you actually are in a field and you keep advancing in a certain field, because you don't get the, you have to keep advancing through your 30s and 40s. So when you retire that young, man, or you're not making many videos, that's got to be depressing. Uh, 250. You're talking about for the 250th anniversary? I don't know. I mean, I was actually going to make a video talking about the difference between what Obama and Trump were going to do, but I don't think that video would really do that well, honestly. Yeah, but I'm sure he kind of likes that it's public, honestly, because he gets in the spotlight a little bit. It's this weird thing. But then he wants to say, well, people are sending me death threats. Well, dude, you've been doing YouTube long enough. You've been doing the internet long enough. The internet is an absolute cesspool. If you start doing content, people are going to turn on you no matter what. It's just the reality of the beast. I saw something to where people were like, well, why do people hate this dude now? And I wanted to comment because he got popular. Like, this is just what it is with the internet. I mean, sometimes you can kind of maintain if you get really popular, but it's challenging. You're always going to have. That's why most of the Reddit pages just turn into complete hater. I mean, people subreddits that are dedicated to specific famous people are just hater pages. That's it. It's funny how that works. No World Cup predictions. I don't watch soccer to be able to give you predictions. I mean, the only thing I know is I know Spain, Argentina, Brazil, England, France. But it's like I don't know any of the players, man. I wouldn't be able to give predictions that would be worth a damn of anything. I hope the US makes it out of their group. Technically they're favorites in they have the best odds in all of their matches. Now they may draw against Turkey maybe, or is it I think they're the biggest favorites against Australia. Uruguay, they're decent favorites. Turkey, I think, is the toughest challenge. I don't know. If you look at the overall world rankings, the US's group is very average. Like, all four of the teams are relatively even. It's not really. It's probably going to be draws. It's probably going to be lower scoring matches, if I had to guess. People even hate on YouTube shorts of your dogs. Yeah, that's that. It's everything. You're not going to escape it. You're not going to escape it with wholesome content. Platner or Tellerico win. Well, I don't think Tellerico wins. I don't think the Dems are going to get Texas. And I think Tellerico is a bit too feminine. You know, the Dems could put up a white guy who's like this independent, slight lib, and maybe they'd have a chance in Texas because of the crazy shifts. I mean, the major cities are complete liberal cesspools. The state is gone. Look at the demographic shifts of that state. It's insane. But I don't think they're going to win with someone like Tellerico. He's looking like a 5'5" estrogen-filled midget. I don't think it's going to happen. Now, for Platner, yeah, Platner's got a chance to win. But I don't know, man. He's got a past. And, you know, Collins is just this kind of steady. You know, people say she's a moderate, but she's a lot better than Platner for Republicans, that's for sure. So, you look at Collins, and maybe there's a 50-50 chance she wins, honestly. You know, but I know people are going to be banking on the fact that she wasn't leading any of the polls in 2022 and then somehow won. And Platner probably has a really good odds to win, I'm guessing, like 75-25. Can the U.S. win the World Cup? No. Yeah, no, it's basically like, it would be like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers winning the Super Bowl this year. The odds are just so low. And I mean, I think their best, I mean, I don't know. This is, you know, if they make it out of group, which honestly they should, and then they win a singular match, so then they get to the final 8 teams. That would probably be their best finish possible, I'd say. But I don't know, who do they face if they make it out of group? If they have to face like France or Argentina, they're going to be fucked. Maybe they face Brazil. I know Brazil is a bit down this World Cup. They may be able to beat Brazil in an upset, but they're going to be underdogs against probably anyone if they make it. Because think about it. You know, in the world, I think the U.S. is ranked... Are they ranked 16th in the world, maybe? Or maybe the into the 20s. I don't know. If you just look at the world rankings, you could get a decent estimate of how good the U.S. can do. But technically, I mean, they could honestly lose all 3 games in their group. I don't think they will, but it's not like they have a gimme game against Qatar or one of those shitty smaller countries. You know, they just don't have that in their group. All right, I appreciate that donation. I think it'll read it out. Actually, you know what? I'm not. It may read it out. I'm not going to be able to hear it. Fuck. Wait, no. It should. I should be able to hear it. I don't think I was reading it out. John Waffle, thank you for the 9.99, $10. Let's just call it. You should really do a video about Pitt Stadium, its downfall, possibly the biggest scandal no one knows about. Well, I do know about Pitt Stadium. I don't know how a video like that would do. That's kind of a niche type thing. I might tackle some of the college stadiums, the evolution of like Ohio Stadium. I might try Ohio Stadium, see how well that video does. 11-0 Republicans fourth inning in their baseball game. Isn't that a softball game they play? Don't they always beat the Democrats in that? At the yearly softball game. SpaceX IPO is destroying the stock market. Yeah, and I don't even think it's worth investing into. If it's, look at its valuation, it's 1.5 trillion. It's probably going to go down, people project, and the best time to buy it might be in 2029 or 2030, from what I've seen from people say about how these IPOs work. Especially an IPO with this much hype. It's like a pre-sale. It's like a cryptocurrency pre-sale. I've seen it so many times where the valuation will be insane and then it'll just tank. I mean, obviously it's a legitimate company, but when you have a valuation that high, how do you really make money off of that? This is not a Tesla situation where it gains value, as the company grows. It's going to be priced in so high because it's already legitimized. Well, what about the Carmelo Anthony situation? He should have gotten life in prison. He got 35 years with a parole possibly after 17 and a half years. So, I mean, I'm happy the jury found him guilty, obviously. But, it's a race thing, and it's just terrible. Really, it is. Mark Teixeira playing for the Republicans. Dude, Mark Teixeira, you gotta nerf him. It's a text message. Mark Teixeira, remember on the Yankees? The big lefty, the lefty first baseman. I remember Mark Teixeira. He was on the Rangers too. You're trusting my financial advice? Well, what advice did I say? Not to invest in the SpaceX IPO? I'm just saying I think there's no point in buying when there's a valuation of 1.5 trillion. What is the growth there? Now, maybe if it drops within the next few years down to... By the way, why do people always... I don't really do the stock market. Why do people always look at price versus market cap? Isn't market cap much more important than price? Because share count is different. It's the same thing with crypto. We always talk about cryptos in terms of market cap because the actual price outside of Bitcoin, because everyone, can kind of compartmentalize the price. But all of the supplies are different, so the price of the coin is irrelevant. But all anyone does is talk about the price of like stocks. I don't really understand it. Why wouldn't they talk about market cap? Isn't market cap much more important? I've done some traveling. You ever been to Williamsburg, Virginia? No, I've never. I've been to DC twice, but no, never Virginia. What's your opinion on the inflation numbers? What are the inflation numbers? What was the I'm gonna guess 2.9%. The core reading is 2.9. I don't know. I'm guessing 2.9%. Someone was saying something about inflation. I don't know. Is it above 3%? Yeah, well, the reason Trump got so much hate for going to the Knicks game is because people say it's an inconvenience. I mean, it's like I don't really care either way if he goes or not. It doesn't really. It's like whatever. It's a basketball game. Trump goes to football games. He goes to basketball games. I never bet on Kalshi, man. I never bet on Kalshi or Poly Market. In 5 years, what will be the top 5 NFL stadiums? I don't know. They're all going to be domes. The NFL is headed for a really boring product, and maybe it'll sink their league. These leagues could use some loss of revenue. I think it'd be healthy for them. Honestly, I do. It's going to be healthy for these leagues to lose revenue. I believe that. They've really become slop, and they need to lose revenue. And they play arena football, and it's all profit incentive. And the stadiums are built just to maximize profit. That's the only thing. They're all going to be playing in domes, so they're headed down a bad path. The NFL is, and people think it's good. They say, well, this really, now you're not going to have the elements to fuck with the talent. Well, the talent has gotten a lot worse, and that's the biggest issue. The talent in the NFL is it's at least a 20-year low from what I've seen. From 2013 to 2014, when I used to watch the NFL, to where it is now, the talent has gotten a lot worse. And they're going to start losing revenue, and they're going to be real mad. And maybe that's what they need. I'm just sick of these leagues making so much money. It's just annoying, honestly. It's just a constant. They have to make more money every year. Inflation is at 4.2. You're kidding. Inflation's at 4.2%. The core inflation. Well, that's not good if that's true. That's no good if that's true, honestly. They're not going to cut rates if inflation's at 4.2, even with Powell being gone. Wait, didn't Powell have to leave? Powell already left, right? He had to have. That's not core. Yeah, what is the actual core inflation? There's no way it's 4.2. How is the talent getting worse? I know, but normally the talent gets better, but you can tell with the league the way it's going, it's the quarterback play has gotten worse, at least. I can tell. The quarterback, there's no denying the quarterback play has gotten worse. It's a worse product. And you look at some of these quarterbacks, they're so bad. They can't even field 32 good They can't even field 32 average quarterbacks, because it is very challenging. Playing quarterback is insanely challenging, but they just don't have the replacements. After all the top quarterbacks retired, they don't have the replacements. Lamar Jackson and Josh Allen, they're not going to get it done. Mahomes is not going to get it done. Mahomes has been average 3 straight years. This is supposed to be his prime. This is not what we call greatness. Core is 2.9. Yeah, well, then people are complaining about nothing if core is 2.9. Then they may cut if core is 2.9, honestly. It's marginal. It's, they might cut at 2.9. I don't know. You got somebody that's basically a Trump stooge as the Fed chairman. QBs don't develop in college. Yeah, that's part of it, but also it's just shifting to mobile quarterbacks, and there's just no pocket passers. There's no pure. I mean, Drake May is like. We'll see how Drake May develops. I guess you'll give it a chance, but you looked at him in the playoffs, it was really bad. But even like a lot of these teams, I don't know what it is, but it's like even if they have a good quarterback, they have no receivers for the quarterback. Like the Bills, they never have any good receivers outside of Stephon Diggs. Then they lost him like 4 years ago. So it's like, even if they have a good quarterback, well, where's the talent? You got to put talent around him. And then they keep drafting these defensive players that suck. And it's like, 3.0 inflation is the new 2.0. Well, it sucks, man. If that, I mean, it means things are going to be bad. We want inflation as low as possible, but yeah, you're right. The normal is probably 3.0 or 2.7 to 3.2 or somewhere around that average. Like 2.9 is pretty average inflation. They said it ticked up from what 2.7. They say that. I mean, that's kind of fear mongering to say that. That honestly, if you're going to seriously complain about inflation, and I don't even think, well, the Trump war and all of it, it's not great, but you can't really say that. You can't really fearmonger about inflation if it's 2.9, if that's what people are actually doing. Increasing interest rates to lower inflation. Please explain to me how that makes sense. Well, if inflation is at 2.9, they may actually be able to lower inflation rates because you could absorb the inflation going up a little bit. They may be able to lower rates. So I think they actually might lower rates once or twice. Although I saw the projections and it looked like they were going to keep them the same. What are the interest rates? 4.0 still? Because they were 4.5, then they did 2.5 cuts. So I do think they're 4.0. I think the interest rate is 4.0. Stephen A. Smith attacking Trump. I just think he wants attention. That's the thing, is Trump gives these people attention. Who cares what Stephen A. Smith has to say? Why would I care about that? I'm the president. I don't give a shit what he has to say. That's great. He has his opinion about me just like everyone else does. I'm the president of the United States. But Trump plays into it with these people, and it's like you're giving him too much attention. He's just going to keep coming back for more. That's the thing with Trump. It's just he has to respond to all these people. He should just say, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. I don't really care. He's going to say shit about me. Get in line. I mean, it just... Yeah, no, even a lot of the inflation is probably absorbed by the war with energy and everything like that. But actually, it doesn't take, core inflation doesn't take into account energy, but maybe it has ripples into other sectors. But that's the thing with core versus the trueflation. The trueflation takes into account energy, but the core supposedly doesn't because, it's even though to me the trueflation is more of an accurate reading. So that maybe is what's saving Trump with the core inflation, is because it doesn't really take into account the energy, if I remember that correctly. Yeah, to counter inflation, I mean, you just got to invest. That's really the only way. You can beat inflation. We can all beat inflation, but it's just annoying, man. It really is to deal with this, and because you have to recalibrate the cost of things and understand how much things cost because of inflation. It's just it's really tough to deal with. But yeah, if you invest, you'll beat it. You invest into a normie index, you'll beat it. Unless we have another COVID situation or something. Then you'll get trampled. It'll go way down. All the stocks will go way down. Inflation will go to 9%. Well, no, actually, when inflation went to 9%, that's when everything rebounded like crazy because they printed all that money. Oracle, thank you for that. Offerings from the house of Bogdanov. You've been beating inflation by investing into Mortal Kombat action figures. Yeah, I don't know the market for Mortal Kombat action figures, honestly. That's a new one. Pete Hegseth announcement. Was it on the war? I didn't see it. Trump is a year into his second term, and it's time to call it a failure. Rush to judgment seems. Well, a failure in what sense? Relative to what we thought. I mean, obviously, this Iran situation has really taken it off the rails. I mean, what you want to call it a failure? It's relative to a Democrat president. Obviously, it's much better, but I mean, the thing is that that's not even an bad inflation reading. So, but again, that doesn't really factor in energy. Thoughts on midterms? Are Republicans taking the House and Senate? Who do you think will be the Republican candidate in 28? The Republicans, I think, will keep the Senate. They'll lose the House by a simple majority, a small amount, maybe 10 seats. And then maybe like 223 to 212. And then I would say the 2028 candidate for the Republicans, probably Vance. Probably Vance still. The Rubio stuff, it's like I'm so far away from my mic. The Rubio stuff, I guess, is intriguing. I don't know, man. I don't think Rubio really is gonna run. Now that I think about it. Weather forecast has been off. Yeah, it's basically, it says there's ooh, it's just lightning. Wait, I might actually lose power. If I lose power, the live stream will cut off. Not that it matters too much. No, it's only if it thunderstorms, I'll tell people, and I might lose power. We only lose power for a split second, then everything comes back on. So it's kind of annoying. But yeah, it just says scattered thunderstorms most days. You got to look at the radar is what you got to look at, because then you'll be able to see if there's actually anything coming. Look at the future radar. The weather app on iPhone is actually really good. It's better than the weather.com or the iOS weather app is what I mean. Like the one that's already pre-downloaded. The weather.com app is not nearly as good. That's what I realized. Yeah, it's just too hot. It's just too hot. I can't do it when it's 95. It just became 90 degrees, and I've had this issue with my car, and what happened with my car is really, it's a sad story, and honestly, it's quite frustrating because I haven't had AC in my car for 4 years because I kept saying I was going to get a new car. And in 2024, even in the summer of 2024, this was before I made all the money with the election and everything, I was looking to get a new car, but I only wanted to pay 20 or 30,000, mainly 20,000 or 15,000. But I decided to not get a new car. I had no AC at this point. So fast forward 2025, still have no AC. Now 2026, I say, okay, I need to fix my AC in my car because I can't do this anymore. So in May, I had to bring it up to my dealership, and it was $200 for a diagnosis of the problem. And they gave me the problem. They quoted me. They said it's going to be $600. It's a special part. We don't have the part. We have to order it. It takes a week and a half. So I got my car back. It was $200 plus $600. So the total was $800 to fix my AC. So it took honestly a month for the part to even come in. So it's the beginning of June. And so I bring my car back up there at the beginning of June. The guy calls me, or he actually texts me. He says, listen, it's a problem. We fixed the AC, it powers on and everything. But now there's another issue. Now it's going to cost you another $700 because now that we've got it fixed, it's telling us there's another problem. So I tell him I'm not paying for that. I can't do it. I'm not gonna pay $1,500 for my AC. This car has $5,000 trade-in value. So why would I spend $1,500 to fix a fucking air conditioning unit in a car? It's a joke. Who spends $1,500 to fix an air conditioning unit? The car's got $6,000 trade-in value. It's stupid. It may only have like $4,400 trade-in value. It's a 2014 fucking Chevy Cruze. So I say, I'm not doing that, dude. I'm not paying $1,500 to fix the AC. This is a joke. So I still had to pay the $800. Now my AC it's not even fixed. It blows a lot stronger air, but it still blows warm air or lukewarm air. I'm just so tired of dealing with vehicles I wanted to get a Cadillac CT5. The problem is the Cadillac CT5 is fucking $50,000. So that's probably not going to happen right now for me because I got fucked by crypto and I have to save my money. I have to invest. I have to invest $50,000 at this stage. I can't really spend it on a Cadillac, unfortunately. But I'm not spending $1,500 on an air conditioning unit for this car. They don't even care when you trade it in if the AC works or not. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind the car honestly because I got it when I was younger and I already should have upgraded honestly. But the car was fine when I got it. But the AC goes out 4 years into its life. I guess it's predictable, right? Or maybe 5 years into its life. But still, there's always problems with ACs with vehicles. And there's rusting on the bottom. The bottom apron they say is a big problem where there's rusting. I got I got a I got something in the mail last Monday. You've been selected. Jury duty. You've got to be kidding me. So I'm thinking, so what do I do to get out of this? I have to call someone. They may not let me out of it. This is now I think, okay, if I just call them, they say you need to call this number. And then they'll tell you if you're needed. Well, you're basically garnishing my wages. You know I'm self-employed. I can't really fucking afford to go and sit down in downtown for a day. I literally have to make videos. I'm going to have to say I'm self-employed. I can't do it. Your apartment lost power 4 hours ago? Yeah, living in an apartment with a power. Yeah, that's tough, man. That's hard. You got to get a generator or something. You can't make a video on that. They're gonna lose their minds. You're not making a video on jury duty. Jury nullification. They won't want you. I don't even think it'll be a big problem. I mean, what are they gonna do if you don't call? Throw it in the garbage and say you never got it? Yeah. I mean, they might fine you. If they fine me like 30 bucks, I don't even care or something. If they want to fine me, they say, well, you could face a. Listen, I can't really afford to be out a week. This is a joke. You'd think they would have a better service to be able to even do that. People have to go down to downtown Cleveland and sit there for hours to see if they're called back for a case. Most of the time, it doesn't even happen. You can't afford a day off. Well, I mean, technically, it's 5 days, if depending. It could be 5 days. Sometimes they say even longer, but 5 days. But there's also a chance they may not need you. It's the whole thing. But I think based on the number that I got, they would probably call me down. Which you left your country to avoid jury duty. That seems a bit drastic. Say I'm going on if yeah, but if you say you're going on vacation or something like that, they'll just suspend it and then you'll be back in the pool. Like within the next 90 days, you'll get called apparently. Oh, county. Okay, that makes you left your, but still, that's kind of crazy to leave your county. I mean, I guess they can't really make you do it if you move. Pie or cake? I think probably cake is better. Or yeah, cake is better. Aren't you curious about what the case is? Yeah, no, I would be curious, but it's a very tedious process, dude. There's a much higher chance you'll basically just get, and that's the thing. It's like, dude, this is gonna be a week of wages lost over this. This doesn't make any sense for me to do it. I mean, I guess I'd be interested, but again, if you get called down, you might just sit in a room for hours, and like this is seriously what we're doing in 2026. We don't have a better system in place because what happens is the judges, they don't know if they need juries because there may be settlements reached before it actually goes to trial. So if there's settlements, then they don't need jurors. So people just sit in rooms and wait, and then they say, "Oh, now we have a case for you," or "Nope, they've all been settled. We've already got all the spots filled. Go home." And it's like, you want to participate in society. I agree, but it's like, you were moving away. Yeah, I wonder they probably put you back in the pool or something. But I mean, most people never even get called, or it takes like years for you to get called again. It's your civic duty. Yeah, but the problem is when you lose wages because of it, it's an issue. I mean, people can't. We really can't afford that. I mean, that's if they want pop juries, they need to. There's got to be a better system. We can't sit downtown for 5 hours. Like it's literally like back in high school. What did you think of the Carmelo Anthony case? I thought it was the right ruling, but the sentence I thought was light because we'll see the parole after 17 and a half years, 35 years for murder. You would think it'd be 50 years for murder or something, or life. I don't know. But it also depends, I guess, what the judge thinks about the case, and we don't have the full context, I guess. They never released that video. There was video of it. Yeah, no, I know you have to call at night, but the problem is even if you call and they say you're needed, that doesn't actually mean you're needed because there could be settlement. Because you talk to people and they tell you that you just wait for a while. Man, it's a bad night. There's just so much lightning. Sleepy, thank you for the 4.99. First mistake buying a Chevy sedan. Second mistake going to the dealer. Future mistake buying a rebranded Chevy sedan, aka Cadillac. Get Honda, Toyota. Yeah, I mean, I understand. People they have their own preferences. Really, I just want a car that looks nice and it has relatively good reviews. I mean, I don't think I'll be keeping it for like 30 years or anything. I understand people have their own opinions on car brands. Bill Gates had to testify. Don't you think that the LA Memorial race was stolen from Spencer Pratt? I don't know, man. LA is such a joke of a city. They seriously cannot even count votes. Like if they don't want people to think there's voter fraud, how the system in which they count votes is terrible because it takes them days to. I mean, how big is this fucking county? It shouldn't take you days to count a few million votes or whatever it is. This is a joke. Then they're like, we got more mail in, and they're all Democrat mail in ballots. I mean, can they not have a better system in counting votes at least? But LA has been completely demographically replaced. When you look at the white population, it's just been annihilated. So of course they're gonna elect, some liberal woman. It shouldn't surprise anyone. But I don't know what system they have in terms of counting votes. But that's a problem because it's like obviously people are going to claim fraud when Spencer Pratt is up by X amount and then all the mail-ins come in and they're all for the fucking Democrat. I mean, listen, I know Democrats vote by mail more, but God, can you count them the election night so we can at least get a real results? I mean, otherwise people will just assume it's stolen because it takes you fucking 40 days to count votes, and obviously people are going to say you're just finding Democrat votes. It's a joke. It's a horribly misrun county. Yeah, I think cars will mostly become self-controlled at a certain point. Maybe by the 2040s, but they're not there yet. They'll probably all communicate with each other. That'll be another thing that'll be a problem for people, I'm sure. That'll be a big problem. Oh, the reflection pool. The reflection pool. Iran is begging President Trump in the Situation Room. They're doing an ongoing bombing campaign against Iran.
To come down between now.
Oh, when the war is over?
Yes.
It's coming down.
I know you can't.
It's going to come down like a rock. And again, we're taking out millions, which I'm just announcing today for the first time. But we've been taking out millions of barrels of oil, millions of barrels. Every night we took out oil. But now I'm going to tell you because they just figured it out. So now that they figured it out, I can tell you. It was very hard for me. I wanted to say it so badly, but I didn't want to ruin it, but it was very hard. But millions of barrels of oil has come out, and that's why it's at $85, $90 a barrel instead of $250. But we have the greatest military in the world, the toughest military in the world, just the best in every way. Nobody even close. There's no military that's even close. I rebuilt it during my first term. I'm using it now. When this conflict is over, Todd said, please go to conflict, right? As opposed to the word war. He didn't like the word war, but it's sort of a conflict. It's a military operation. When it's over, you will see oil drop to where it was before.
What do you set your AC at? 66 degrees. But it gets hotter upstairs. It doesn't matter. You set it to 66 degrees. If your house, it depends how big your house is, but it's the way heat rises. It's a big problem because it doesn't. It's like 75 degrees in my room. Icebox. It's not. I mean, in the middle floor is cold. The middle floor is cold. They're denying visas of competing countries. Are they denying player visas? I don't think they're doing that.
Us to be strong and resolute with the way that we respond and bring firepower, and we will certainly do that if need be. So thank you for traveling with us today very much, and we'll strike them hard tonight, and hopefully Iran makes a good decision. Thank you. Appreciate you all.
Did they violate the ceasefire, as you said?
Thank you, boss. Yes.
Mr.
Speaker. The president said today, I love the inflation amid these high economic...
I knew somebody was going to ask me that. It was totally out of context. You know what he was talking
But
about.
is
Play
that the
whole
message
clip.
that voters want to hear right now?
No. The president is laser focused on the domestic economic situation. He is working to bring down prices. He is working to get the Strait of Hormuz reopened. We have passed legislation. He's used executive orders to get the cost of living down.
What about the economic
hold on.
today?
Everybody got their highest tax refunds they've had in their whole lives. They're getting greater paychecks. There's all sorts of great...
The thunder? Yeah, it's thundering. You probably can't hear that. Penn Station. Yeah, I mean, this could be better. It could be better. It's like a imperial traditional design, I guess. No, I don't. I don't live in West Cleveland. It's literally just a box, surround booby trapping Madison Square Garden. It's just not an ideal situation for a national transit hub, but what are they gonna do? They didn't want to move Madison Square Garden. It would cost more money, probably. I don't know. What was the context of that? I think there's that video maybe, or no? That's just on the reflection tool. Let me see if I could find the video of it. Thoughts on Freedom 250 possibly getting rained out? Well, when is Freedom 250 supposed to be? I mean, it's probably far too early to look at a forecast of any certainty unless it's like 100% chance of rain for multiple days. What week is Freedom 250? Maybe it's like a month-long thing or something they set up. I think at Freedom 250 they're supposed to have one of the triumphal arches, like maybe a design of the triumphal arch. Sunday night. Isn't Sunday night the boxing match? That's what Freedom 250 is. I thought no, they're doing they're doing an entire like World's Fair type thing. It's going to be a few weeks long. It's on the National Mall. The UFC, I thought you were talking about something else. The UFC event is called Freedom 250. I thought it would be called UFC whatever number it is. But yeah, I don't know about the UFC event getting rained out. They should schedule it to where there's like an extra. Well, I guess they can't do that because the boxers wouldn't be ready. But Bernie would have been more competitive than Hillary, but I think Trump still would have won. No, no, Hillary was competitive. Hillary won the popular vote. She barely lost a lot of the swing states. Now Bernie, I don't think Bernie polled really well, but there's a little bit different between hypothetical and an actual election. I don't think Bernie would have done as well as Hillary in 2016. I know he was polling better, but again, that's a little bit different than actually facing Trump. It was more of a hypothetical thing. before he had even lost to Hillary in the primary. That would suck if it got rained out. Yeah, it depends. It depends what the forecast is exactly on for the 14th, for the night of the 14th. I mean, if it's like 100% chance of rain, then it's, if it's scattered, then it probably, there's a chance it might be perfectly clear. Depends. We get a lot of the scattered where it'll say, well, there's a 30% chance of rain. Like every day there's a 30% chance of rain, and then during the day it'll be sunny because it's really hit or miss, or the clouds scatter. But if it's like 100% chance, then there's actually a front versus just in the vicinity. They'd probably still fight in the rain. Yeah, that's like a player safety thing where they slip and stuff. I don't think they could really do that. Maybe it depends. You don't think the opponent would have mattered? Well, also they were coming off of Obama for 8 years. Traditionally, it'd be very hard for a Democrat to win. They wanted, that's cultural dominance. You had Obama win back to back, and then they wanted to win again. That would be cultural dominance if they would have won in 2016. So it was, normally the way it is, it swings back. There's always a chance of rain, unless there's no clouds. You get a lot of days where there's perfectly sunny, no clouds. There can't be any chance of rain then. We'll get entire days where there's no clouds. It's just clear. Especially in July. July is very dry. July and August are very dry. June is still a little bit rainy. June, you get a lot of bigger thunderstorms. July and August are very dry. September, I don't know. September, maybe you get more rain. Do you think anyone died from the Apache helicopter? That did kind of get memory holds. Yeah, that was kind of strange how they got memory hold so quickly, but I don't know. Bro, it is really bad out. I'm not gonna lie. I may actually lose power, which is fine, but just understand that that's what happened. If I lose power, it's not a big deal. It'll come back around. But I'm not gonna be able to go live again tonight because I'm just not going to do it. But I don't know. Normally we don't lose power just because of a storm. I'm risking it. And then it just turns off, and then I just talk to no one. Same. You're worried you'll lose it. Yeah, there's got to be storms in the Northeast, bro. There's these storms tonight in the Northeast. Opening match tomorrow between Mexico, South Florida, or South Africa. No, I don't think so. I'll just watch the U.S. games, unless it's like a cool stadium. Maybe maybe if it's a cool stadium, I'll watch. Will they do a military parade for the 4th? Yeah, they're gonna do something big for the 4th, of course. They're gonna have the whole National Mall decked out. It's gonna be like an exposition. It's gonna be like a World's Fair. New Yorkers pay 7,800. I mean, those tickets are insane. It's supply and demand. The Garden has like a capacity of 20,000, and obviously the first time they're in the finals in 27 years, so limited supply, massive demand. It's going to drive up the price to insane. I would never pay for a ticket like that. I also think it's like this weird thing where it's like this elitist club that I think that's stupid. Like they show all these celebrities and stuff, and I just think it's not that type of thing with sporting events like that is, I don't know. I don't like that, honestly. You live in New York City? Well, didn't they try and say there's not going to be riots because they shut down all the watch parties? They shut down all the watch parties in New York City. Hottest temp you'd play golf in? It's supposed to be 110 degrees in Phoenix. Well, Phoenix is dry heat, so it's a little bit different. That's hot, though. Yeah, I wouldn't play in 110. But again, that's dry heat. It's not humidity. In the eastern side of the U.S., we get humidity, which is a lot worse. But we don't get 110 degrees of dry heat. We get like 95 with humidity. That's when it gets really bad. Honestly, probably the worst, most miserable heat is in SEC countries in Louisiana. Louisiana, like Mississippi, Missouri, Alabama. That's probably the worst type of heat you could have. It's worse than like Death Valley heat or Las Vegas. I've been to Las Vegas when it was 115 degrees. I mean, it's really hot, but it's just dry. But it's insanely hot. Yeah, Arizona, I think, is dry heat. They don't get much humidity because they don't get rain. Why do they complain if you make tickets super cheap? It would be first come, first serve situation. Yeah, I mean, I can understand people want to see their team, but it's just like, dude, you're not going to be able to pay for a ticket like that. It's just, I would not spend, $1,000, let alone 7,000 or whatever it is. I just don't really, I don't think it's worth it. Even for like the Super Bowl or whatever. Yeah, that's the other thing is it does depend where you're at. Concrete does make it a lot worse. If you have like a massive parking lot and whatever, there's no grass around, it's really bad. It basically traps the heat. That's one of the things that's very problematic with parking lots is they superheat with the asphalt. Bovino, Hunter Biden. The Hunter Biden slop. Don't fall for the Hunter Biden slop, please. Dude, Hunter Biden with like the most normie, liberal, moderate coded text or tweets. It's like such a joke. Celebrities go to the games just to post pics they don't want. Well, it's a status symbol. That's all it is. With these people, it's just a status symbol. That's they care about going. They say, "Oh, I went. I was allowed to go." It's like I don't know. I don't really like sporting events like that. I think the sports. I think I don't like the NBA. Trump said he liked the NBA. I don't like the NBA at all. I don't think it's very entertaining either. I mean, I guess it used to be, but
Sure, the right people come into our country.
Are you going to go to any games?
I will.
I
will.
Are you concerned, Mr. President, about the latest inflation number which came out this morning? Could that be a
No, I
headwind
love it.
for
The
Republicans
numbers
in
look
terms of
great.
trying to hold
You know what I
up the
really
House and
love?
Senate?
I love the inflation. You know why? Because as soon as this war is over, I can say it now. Something you didn't know. We've been taking out millions of barrels of oil. Nobody knows it. You know who doesn't know about it? Iran until right now. We took out the other night 22 ships late at night with no lights because they don't have any radar because we blasted the crap out of it. We took out, that's why oil's $85 a barrel. I mean, you take a look. Remember when I did this, I said, look, the one bad thing will be we hit the best economy we've ever hit. And I said to my people, I had Scott, I had Howard, I had Pete, I had all of them. I had Todd in the room. I said
Yeah, obviously, yeah, that's a nothing burger. Obviously, he didn't mean that he loved the inflation going up. He's basically what he said is that, you know, he didn't even mean to say that. It was more about he loves it because it's going to go down once we end the war. Basically, this, you know, they're misquoting him or whatever. I mean, they're correctly quoting him, but it's a mischaracterization on what he meant to say. Basically, with that. Belfast and British riots. Oh, in Northern Ireland, that was horrible. The migrant tried to behead the white guy. It's just terrible. Yeah, you can't replicate those. I don't think you can replicate riots like that in America and the United States. It's pretty hard to do the way they assemble. It's impressive. How much are courtside tickets to the NBA Finals? Probably $50,000. I don't know. Maybe 100,000. Who knows, dude? Clay Travis, dude. Clay Travis literally, he like ended his Outkick show or something. I saw. He was in Congress today. Do you like roller coasters? As I got older, I've liked. I'm kind of indifferent on them. I don't know if I would really get thrilled. I guess they're fine. You know, it's something fun to do, a roller coaster. The problem is the lines. That's the big problem. You go to Cedar Point. The lines are a big issue, man. There's roller coasters at Cedar Point, like the Top Thrill Dragster or Millennium Force. It's like an hour and a half wait. And it's like, bruh. It's an hour and a half wait, and then the Millennium Force is 2.5 minutes long. But it is a massive first hill. Millennium. They were 500K. Yeah, I don't know, man. Honestly, 500K for the floor. It's just a status symbol for rich people. It's literally just rich people watching like Hunger Games type thing, and then they watch their little pawns play. I guess it's kind of funny, but it's just strange. It's like this weird dynamic with really rich snobby people, and they're like, fetch me my wine. Fetch me my wine and cheese while I watch my little pawns. Oh, man. And then they all get shown by the crowd, and the crowd has to, like, worship them. They get shown on the Jumbotron. You like watching a storm and relaxing? Yeah, I like right before it starts to storm. That's always a fun time when it's like really dark, but it hasn't rained yet. I don't know why. It's a fun time. I kind of like that. I like when it storms, everything gets cooled down, which I think it's a bit more humid tonight, so maybe that doesn't happen because the low is like 73 degrees. When the low is like 80 degrees, that's horrible. Now we never have that. Sometimes the low is like 75 degrees. That's the worst. But preferably, I would like the low to be like 57 degrees with a high of 70. That would be nice. Can we get that? We kind of got that in like May. It was pretty nice for a little bit in May. Knicks down 15. Oh boy. What is that? That series is going to go 7 games. The NBA will love that, I'm sure.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's good to be here at U.S. Central Command. Admiral Cooper, the commander of CENTCOM, was going to be here with me. We just got done with detailed briefings, but of course he is busy because CENTCOM, Central Command, will be busy tonight because President Trump said we will be hitting Iran hard, and we will be, because Iran has a chance to make a good deal, a great deal, to codify what they said they've been willing to do, and they haven't been willing to do it. So, as President Trump said, they've been tapping. You can see when some.
Did you see what happened in Belfast, Northern Ireland, because of the beheading attempt? Are you talking about the protests against it?
Someone's trying to tap on a deal.
Ireland is actually, there are a lot of really far right-wing, you know, this is what I was told. The average person in the United Kingdom is more right-wing than the average person in Ireland. Ireland has the complex to where they like love Palestine because it's a similar thing to where they have the relationship where Northern Ireland is technically a part of the UK and they've always been little brother to the UK. So, but the thing that I was told was that Ireland is more left than the UK, but they have more extreme right-wingers, far right-wing groups than the UK per capita. Look, I don't know if that's true, but that's just what I was told. I was told they're a lot more extreme, but the when you look at the population as a whole, the UK is more right-wing than Ireland, but Ireland has more extreme right-wing groups than the UK. That's what I was told.
Instead, they're going to have tap bombs dropping on key facilities in Iran from the United States of America. And that's not because we want to restart anything we don't have to restart. It's because the War Department is prepared to set the terms to ensure that we get the kind of deal President Trump expects. And Admiral Cooper and the team here at CENTCOM has done a phenomenal job from the beginning on Epic Fury and through this blockade, ensuring that we have a chance to reach that end state, which is Iran will never have a nuclear weapon, which they say they don't want. And so since we're so close to that negotiated deal, if that's the case, they should step up and do it. There's another thing that was revealed today by the president that the press has not been aware of, but certainly this bill.
Oh, dude, come on. That's photoshopped. That's photoshopped. They really listen. I don't want. They got to redesign this arch. It could use a little bit better of a design if they decide to build it. This is not even the proper rendering of it. Yeah, this is AI, obviously. Just an awkward photo. The reflection pool, they got all angry about that. I mean, this is literally what people do for World's Fairs. They're having a World's Fair, basically. Okay, if they're having an exposition, you have to clean up the reflection pool and everything, so it looks nice. I don't know why people are angry about it. Listen, they added a sealant to the base. The point is, they added a protectant. This is what they did, and let me just be honest. There was uncontrollable algae growth because the reflection pool is literally just still water and it gets really hot in the summer. I mean, it's DC. It's like a swamp. If you have still water, algae is going to grow. They couldn't put in the proper chemicals to stop the algae from growing because it would harm the base of the reflection pool. They applied a sealant. Now with this cover that they have on, it's going to look more dark. It's going to look darker, so the reflection will be more prominent. And on top of that, they're going to be able to use more powerful chemicals to keep algae down. That's what Trump should say. People could actually understand that. They had to put a sealant on it because now they can use more chemicals because it's protected. Because now the stone is protected and it's not going to erode at all. Think about it. But this is what people, they build structures specifically for an exposition for a World's Fair. Do people not know about World's Fairs or anything? Obviously, they're going to make it look nice when it's a 250th year anniversary. They're going to invest $13 million or whatever it is to make it look nice. I just don't think people know what World's Fairs are. Because they spent a bunch of money, and look at what they're doing with the National Mall. They're putting up a bunch of shit because they want to celebrate, but you have to have the reflection pool has to be presentable. It can't be a swamp, because it turned into a swamp, and it's like, well, this is just not good for the country. It looks, the reflection pool is very long, so it's hard to maintain. It's just still water. It's just gonna get algae. You gotta douse it with chemicals or something to keep it. They said they couldn't put the chemicals in it because it would it would erode the bottom. So put a protection on it, put a sealant or some shit on it. That's what Trump said. Sounds good. Sounds like a plan. And they said, we'll make it darker blue because it reflects better if it's darker. Thoughts on Massey acknowledging the USS Liberty? Well, isn't that kind of his thing now to call out Israel on everything? I mean, it's like, all right, dude. No, I mean, I think the USS Liberty, it's pretty obvious that it was done on... Well, look, it was friendly fire. I would say if you look into it, yeah, it seems pretty obvious it was done on purpose due to the circumstance. But it's all eyewitness accounts. What if they put a UFC fight on the reflection pool? That would be pretty sweet. But you guys have to understand the concept. Nobody talks about it. If they put a sealant on the stone, the actual lining of the stone, they can douse the reflection pool with chemicals that'll kill the algae. They couldn't do it because it would erode. You can't put strong chemicals in that pool with exposed stone like that. It'll erode. The base will erode. It was already leaking. Listen, people say it's a quick fix. To me, as long as it looks good when it's filled up, I think it's not a big deal. Thoughts on Nicolas Fuentes? I think he's a furry. No, I mean, I think Nick Fuentes, obviously he says things that are true, but he's also a bit egotistical, and it's going to be hard to run a movement when you're that egotistical. I don't know. He needs to grow up a little bit, I think. He needs to stop talking about Sneeko all the time. It's embarrassing. Groiper slop or goy slop? Are the Northern Irish going too far? What are they doing? Is it a bad riot? I mean, those people are pretty right wing. You don't trust Candace Owens or Nick Fuentes? Well, those are kind of different because I don't think they really like each other much either. I don't know, man. That's the thing with the right wing people. It's hard to keep track. It's like, well, one of them likes the other, then a week later they don't like each other, then a week later they like each other again, then they don't like each other, then they do. It's like, okay, it's a soap opera. I mean, how are you gotta galvanize together? They can't do it. It's literally what taxpayer money is supposed to be used for. No, I think it looks great, but people also don't understand the concept. They say it's just going to get more algae. No, if you can apply harsher chemicals, the algae growth is going to be limited. Apparently they fixed a lot of the leaks as well to the base of it with just $13 million. That seems like a good deal to me. $13 million for a government project. That seems pretty good. They were quoted a lot more than $13 million. Now we'll see if it holds up, but I think it probably will hold up, honestly, if you think about it. I think it'll hold up. They'll be able to use harsher chemicals to keep the algae growth down. They just got to keep the algae down. It'll be fine. They're burning the migrant houses and shops. Yeah, I have seen them do that in Ireland. They do have a propensity to do that. That doesn't surprise me. Sneeko, Maybox, Nick Fuentes. Yeah, I mean, I would watch that, honestly. So that's an interesting one. So Sneeko's gonna box Nick Fuentes. That'll be a pay-per-view. Nick Fuentes said he got in shape. I guess he wants to box Sneeko. Why is Fuentes always beefing everyone? I know, you would think it would be like he has the most fans out of anyone, so it'd be the easiest for him to stay out of it. If you've got the most fans, why do you have to pick fights with people? It just doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think Sneeko might be like 6'1", 6'2", honestly. If you look at him against Andrew Tate and Tristan Tate, Sneeko's taller for sure. Pumped for America 250 with the UFC fight. Sneeko moneyline he might be minus 5,000, honestly, if that was the fight. He might be minus 600 to win that fight. You think Crowder cooked Fuentes? He showed that there was yeah, honestly, some of Fuentes' arguments weren't really developed against Crowder. I mean, I think the thing is, Crowder is always going to go into an argument like that. You know, he's going to be seen as the boomer, so Gen Z's just going to roast him with all of his arguments. And it's easy to argue accelerationism because you don't actually have to, predict how bad it's going to get with Democrats in. But, it tends to not be that simple to where, well, if we just elect a bunch of Democrats, the country's going to shift extremely far right. I mean, even back in 2016, after Obama won twice, Hillary won the fucking popular vote. Now, we got lucky with Trump winning the Electoral College just barely. But, from a popular vote perspective, based on immigration, based on where the country was at, it was liberal. I mean, and then the Democrats won the popular vote again in 2020. So it's like, I don't know about accelerationism with the way the demographics are. I don't know if you can afford to do that. Because they reference, well, Trump won in 2016 because we suffered through Obama. But Trump nearly lost. I mean, kind of got lucky that he won. It isn't really accelerationism. I don't agree with the tactic, but it is to vote Democrat to stop this administration and then elect a hardline Republican in 28. What do you mean vote he vote Democrat in the midterms? I know he's been saying that. Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to vote Democrats for the midterms, but I mean, look at my choices in Ohio. I mean, they literally campaign for Amy Acton. The Groypers do. One of the biggest problems would be that the Dems would just make it impossible for a Republican to win again with Puerto Rico, DC. Yeah, now that's an argument that I don't like that argument, I have to say. Listen, that is the exact fear-mongering that Democrats use against Republicans, Republicans use against Democrats. I do not think, and listen, if the Democrats end up doing this, it would destroy the actual, the authority of the Supreme Court. If they packed the Supreme Court, it would destroy the authority. It would actually, the integrity of the Supreme Court would be crushed. And it would be a never-ending cycle, and the entire thing would be a mess if they actually packed it. I don't think they're going to pack it. And I don't think they're going to make DC or Puerto Rico states. Now, that's said as a fear-mongering tactic by Crowder, and I get why he says it. And it's like, ooh, they have this plan 2029 and all this. But, you know, this is the stuff I hear constantly about both the left and the right, to where they say, well, the right wing is going to do all this stuff, and it never ends up happening. And they've been saying they're going to make DC a state and Puerto Rico a state. Well, they also need Congress to be able to do that. I mean, are they going to have the votes to be able to do things like that? I don't even think so. Packing the court is just destroying the integrity of the Supreme Court. If they want to do that, they're just going to destroy the integrity. And then you wonder if rulings even get abided by future Republican presidents, if they actually pack it. It basically just delegitimizes the court, because the number of justices haven't changed since the 1800s, I believe. So if they packed the court, they would just destroy the Supreme Court entirely. It would just be, it'd be basically just rigging it, because you don't have the justices. There's there would be too many Republican justices. It's 6-3. They don't want to wait for the Republican justices to die out with a Democrat president and a Democrat Congress. That's why for Trump, it's important that this is why it would be important that the Republicans win the Senate. At least the Republicans could confirm Supreme Court justices in the timeline of 2027, 2028, before the 2020, or I guess even through 2028, even though it's a lame duck. If you keep the Senate, you can still confirm justices. If you lose the Senate, the liberals will block any confirmation. If there's a retiree or something, and then it becomes the same thing that Mitch McConnell did to the Democrats. It becomes this hang up. That's why the Republicans winning the Senate, if one of the older, like Alito or Thomas, retires, then you'd be able to get it. You'd want like a DeSantis to come in, get someone really young. Then they may get really bitchy about it and then try and pack it. We're talking about a hypothetical scenario where the Republicans sit out and let Democrats make everything worse, thus forcing a far-right figure so it would happen. I mean, but then think about like, what do you mean by far-right figure? You mean like a white identitarian? I mean, you think Mexicans are going to vote for that? Maybe some of them will, honestly, some of these people, but I know Mexicans tend to be, you can argue, a bit more conservative, but like, I mean, how far right can we really go? What is our runway? The country's 58% white as it is, and there's all these white people that already hate being white, and they want to be liberal, and they want the country more brown. So what really is our runway in terms of having a far-right figure? What does that mean? We're talking about somebody that wants to deport a bunch of brown people. You think Mexicans are going to vote for that? Maybe if they're... But it's like hard to swing that, because if the country was 90% white or 80% white, I would agree with you. We've got a pretty big runway to elect somebody that's further right. I don't know what the demographic shifts we have the runway to do that. That's really where that's really what it comes down to. You're electing someone that's far right. Well, what is the rhetoric that they're going to be able to use to actually be elected? Even if the country goes to shit with liberals and whatnot, I mean, I get that gives you runway. Like if Kamala Harris won in 2024, maybe that gives it would give Republicans more runway to be even more galvanized and harder. Because the odds are Harris would not be a very good president, right? It would be a continuation of Biden. Biden had a -18, -19 approval rating. And then but the thing is Harris would just give all the illegal immigrants amnesty. Then you'd be talking about full-blown remigration, because they would all have amnesty at that point. They were going to give that was part of the border bill. They were talking about a bipartisan border bill. I got to look at that. I can't believe any Republican would agree to give all the illegals in the country amnesty. But that's what they cited for that bipartisan border bill, and Trump shut it down. They said, well, Trump shut down the border bill because he wants the immigration to be bad. Well, the immigration was bad because liberals made it bad, because they reversed all of Trump's policies in 2021 when Biden was inaugurated. The Belfast protests, I hear they're getting pretty bad. People have been telling me. Listen, those people don't play around in Northern Ireland and Ireland in general. I have heard of instances where they burn the shops with the migrants, yes. You think Mexico is a sleeping giant? Like in 2060, you could see Mexico being a world superpower. They're just, the cartel influence just kill. I mean, they do have major cities. They do have major cities, but even the thing with Mexico is I have heard there's actually really nice cities in Mexico that people go to, and they're actually safe. They're smaller. Their major cities are crime ridden, and they've got massive cartel influence. I could never live in Mexico. I just don't think it's a safe country, but I would never leave the United States. I just feel like I'm not welcome anywhere else, maybe outside of like Ireland, because I could just blend in. A lot of Hispanics are white nationalists. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like just an internet thing, though. I mean, even if you look at like 100 on the internet, is that really a phenomenon that's happening in real life? I highly doubt it. I mean, Hispanics are going to vote for a white supremacist in big numbers. I don't know. I mean, unless it gets so bad in the country, I do think there's a higher chance because they're more conservative that they would do it. But yeah, no, I'd be welcomed in the. I mean, I'd be welcome. You could blend in the UK for sure. A lot of those European countries probably. I don't know, man. A lot of those European countries are really elitist and snobbish. But I think the UK and Ireland would be fine. But I mean, those major cities like London is completely. It's demographically eroded. But you go to a place like where they speak different languages, they get real snobbish. I would imagine Germany's pretty snobbish. Italy's pretty snobbish. You know, to tourists, and I don't like going where I'm really not welcome, or you look like a dumb tourist. I don't like that. In the United States, I mean, we're basically globalized to the point where people come from all over. We're like, oh, you must be American. I mean, I'm kind of kidding, but it's like somebody with a full-blown Australian accent. Oh, you're American. Because just how globalized the country is. What is our identity? Well, it's a bunch of European countries all together, and now it's fucking Mexico. Now it's Latin America. Singapore is really advanced. They really advanced. They have a smaller population. People talk about their healthcare. They got a really nice healthcare system in Singapore, but they're really advanced. They've got a real high median IQ. Yeah, we need English speaking countries. We need English speaking countries. I know a little bit of Spanish, but nah. You go to a country where even if you're bilingual, you don't it's not your first language. It's like you're not welcome. Any updates on the Ohio governor race? It's kind of quieted down. Vivek has a huge war chest. He probably self-funds. I mean, I don't know where he's getting these donations. He runs a bunch of ads. He runs way more ads than Amy Acton. He's got more money than Acton. I think he's self-funding. He's obsessed with power. He needs to be the governor. He's spending all this money. They announced they were going to do this huge ad blitz starting in like February, the Vivek campaign. So they've been ad blitzing and running a bunch of ads on TV. You know how to speak Portuguese? Oh, you'll be good. That'll be good for Brazil for you. Now being bilingual is a flex, 100%. But even if you are, it's like, I don't know. I want to speak my language from my country. The only Spanish I know is just things that I picked up. Well, I took Spanish for 2 years, didn't learn anything in high school at all from Spanish. Outside of like really basic my name and asking questions, but you pick up a little bit more. Mi nombre es Patricio. They make you say that. It's just I don't like taking Spanish. That's what Rubio wants, Latinization. Latinization, bro. You unlocked the word. The Latinization of America. Vivek sucks, but it's not like a Graham Plattner situation where a sensible person would vote the other party just because they want. Yeah, because Collins is more of a moderate. That's why they would do that. That's why Collins can win. Even being a Republican technically in Maine, which is more Democrat, because Maine is really moderate Dem anyways, and Collins is moderate Republican. Yeah, you took 2 years, dude. I don't know why. I think they like you had to take 1 year. And maybe I should have took German, but it was we're all like fucking bots. They just say, well, Spanish is easier than German, so we all take Spanish. I would have actually, now that I think about it, I would have been more interested in learning German, but it's a lot harder of a language to grasp. Spanish is more related to English, to where it's easier. That's why we were offered German or Spanish, and like 90% of the kids chose Spanish. You thought my name was Zach? It's interesting. I think, yeah, most people know my name though. Rubio will flood the country with Hispanics. I mean, it's a possibility. I mean, Rubio would win a lot of Hispanics, that's for sure. But I think it'll be Vance. But, I mean, who knows? Honestly, isn't it like impossible to predict right now? I feel like it's kind of impossible to predict whether it's going to be Rubio or Vance. I feel like we knew it was going to be Vance. Now it's shifted, but can you really say it's going to be Rubio when Rubio just says he's not going to run if Vance runs? Yeah, I know about Susan Collins being underpolled, and maybe it'll work out again like that. Not French or Latin. I just vividly remember it being maybe Latin. I don't think French, but I vividly remember it was Spanish, German, and maybe it was Latin was another option, but I don't really remember it. DeSantis in 28. If he, yeah, I don't think DeSantis is going to be able to do it. I mean, I don't know, man. DeSantis got his stock got dropped significantly, at least in the general level, because of his 24 primary campaign. So I think it's going to be hard for DeSantis to win. He's back in Trump's good graces, but people kind of have this skittish thing with him because they think he's kind of cringy. I don't know. It's like once you get labeled something, it's kind of hard to shake it. You think German is quite similar? Yeah, I mean, but even if you say it's similar, you can't argue Spanish is an easier language to learn than German if you're an English speaker. Unless maybe you got a different type of wired brain, but for most people, it's Spanish is much easier to learn. Do you think Ohio State will be as good as last year? I mean, you would think they'd be better. They didn't even win a playoff game last year, so I would hope they'd be better. They went 12-0, then they lost the two most important games. You're more interested in what Germans have to say? Yeah, but it's honestly, I mean, it depends where you live. I mean, in the United States, Spanish is more of an asset than German. I get what you're saying, but it's like all those countries. I don't know. Those European countries have been cucked for a while, and they've suppressed to themselves. They really have. Like, look at their growth versus America's growth, and they suppress themselves with heavy regulations. There's something interesting with that. Even though their countries are heavily white, it's like they hurt themselves from growing. And I don't know. Maybe I should look into that. It's interesting because I heard somebody talking about that, and I was like, it is kind of true. I mean, but the United States was birthed from a bunch of white nations. But now we have to extract our GDP through Mexicans coming over working for nothing. Then they destroy our middle class, but they keep our economic numbers up. Yeah, there's got to be a lot of Spanish lingering. You go towards the south, they probably all speak fucking Spanish. In Mexico, New Mexico, or Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, there's a lot of Spanish, I'm sure. New Mexico is probably predominantly Spanish, maybe, honestly. If Vance picks Ramaswamy as his running mate, I hope there will be another MAGA. No. That's not going to happen. Anakin Snow. Yeah, he follows me on Instagram. He's like, that dude's got to be, I don't want to, I'm not going to dox. He's like a 19-year-old white dude. If I had to guess. Probably par for the course. I appreciate the support. I'm not going to say that. You're trying to get me on something, saying I'm stupid. Yeah, Mike Trout's kind of had a bounce back. He's had a resurgence a little bit. He still makes too much money. Oh my god, the World Cup. I mean, I'm gonna watch the U.S. a bit. I'll watch the. No, I'm actually gonna watch the USA games. They're at 9 o'clock. That's a pretty good time. It might be redheads are stupid or something. That's why. I mean, there's no reason. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not going to entertain. U.S. is actually not a bad team. No, U.S. should win their. Like, let's take a look. If we could find what would be the best thing, Polymarket or Kalshi? Guess it doesn't matter. USA versus stage of elimination. All right, so think about this. Okay, yeah, they should. Okay, so this is pretty. This is pretty realistic. So group stage is the worst. You obviously want to make it past group stage. They make it past group stage. They get into the round of 32. People think they're going to lose immediately in the round of 32. They win the round of 32, then they make it to the round of 16. Then they make it to the quarterfinals, then semifinal, then final, then champion. Round of 32, yeah, I mean, that's the favorite. I mean, I'd like to see the Here we go, World Cup. Oh, look at this. They got a little Mexico 69% chance to win, basically. Switzerland 81% chance. Yeah, Qatar is not very good. So let's take a look. 12 a.m. Wait, 12 a.m. Where's that game at in fucking California? The United States. Oh, it's not Uruguay, it's Paraguay. The United States is, I think I missed 56% chance to beat Australia. You gotta, they should beat Australia. Australia's the worst team in the pool. Or in the group. When is the US's first game? I think I missed it. 51% chance, Paraguay. 9 o'clock start. The 12th? Oh, that's close. They got to win this game. I say US wins 1-0. US wins 2-0 on a penalty kick. No, I'm kidding. 2-0. 1-0. Now, I would actually predict, I'll say this. US beats Paraguay 1-0. US beats Australia 3-1. I'd say 3-1. US beats Australia. US against Turkey, it's a draw 1-1. So that's my prediction. So they finished 2-0-1. I don't know. They face Turkey at SoFi. I don't know where this game is. Maybe it's SoFi Stadium. Well, the Knicks are going to lose then. I mean, you take a look at this. Yeah, they're going to lose. How do they have a 12% chance? I guess because the second quarter. They still have a 12% chance. These abbreviations are wrong. It should be SA, not SAS. If you know how they used to do that. I don't like those abbreviations. Oh, not these two women. Oh, this is what I'm talking about. SpaceX IPO closing market cap. Dude, you gotta be kidding me. It's gonna close above $2 trillion. Who's gonna buy this? Who's gonna buy it at this valuation? You're not gonna make any money. It's gonna go back down. I mean, should you claim your German, Peruvian citizenship? No, you don't want to be you don't want to be a dual citizen. People, your loyalty to the United States will be questioned if you're a dual citizen. Actually, I don't know. I've heard it's a big asset to do it. It depends. Depends if you want it or not. But I do, what does it even really do? I guess you could live there easily without needing a huge process. People always talk about, like, if you actually wanted to go live in Italy or Germany as an American, it's probably like it's like a 1.5 year long process, maybe longer. Maybe it's a 2 year process. It's a long process to be able to get the proper visa package to be able to live in another country, which is honestly how it should be. For the United States, because we've globalized ourselves, everyone just comes in and we just say, yeah, you can come in. It's just total slop. It's just slopification. Just come in. We've globalized ourselves. We don't have an actual heritage. Musk to be the first trillionaire? Yeah, because this fucking IPO is going to be 2.2 trillion or $2 trillion. What the hell is Project Freedom? GPT 5.6. Grok 5. Oh, you know, Grok 5. That's a meme coin to invest into. Grok 5. Yeah, it's not going to be released anytime soon. It's kind of stupid odds there. It would be easier to travel to like Russia or China if you wanted to, but mainly you just use it to vote. Really? That's interesting. Why would it be easier to travel to those countries? What, because you have European citizenship? So it's easier to travel to other countries like in Asia? Russia, I can travel without a visa. In China, it's harder to get into as an American. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I guess the more citizen. I mean, I wouldn't want dual citizenship. But I understand why you would want it. You know, from a standpoint of it makes you more elastic. Like you can travel to places easier, more flexibly, not require more documentation. So when does trading open for space? When is the IPO over? I guess it'll tell us right here. Oh, they don't know. Did you see Candace Owens traveled to and is simping for Russia? Yeah, that stuff is always weird to me when they go to countries and it's all paid for and it's like a propaganda tour. Who would believe that? Like, I mean, no, don't get me wrong. Russia has some great architecture. The Moscow metro is amazing and they've got beautiful cathedrals and stuff, but I think it's like the same thing with Tucker Carlson. I mean, I'd have to see it for myself. I'm not going to take in the propaganda like suddenly Russia is this beautiful bastion and they've got a bunch of commie blocks in Russia everywhere outside of the Moscow. And do you know anything about the Charlie Kirk appointing Erica Kirk video debacle? They released it and Candace immediately called it AI. I don't know what that is. No. I've never been to Asia at all. Average numbers of ships to cross the Strait of Hormuz slop. Basically, they released audio of Charlie saying that he appointed Erica in case of anything, and then she called it AI and asked why they didn't release the video then as soon as they did. Really? Yeah, that's... So there's a video of Charlie Kirk saying everything Erica Kirk should be appointed if anything happens to me. I don't know, man. At this point, I'm kind of fatigued of it. Best time to go to New York. God, I don't know. You'd have to be decent weather. You got to go during decent weather, so maybe September. September, October. You go in the summer, it's probably really it's always really touristy. I wouldn't really know the answer. Maybe March or September, in between seasons. You don't want to go in the winter. It's a fucking dead zone because of how eastern it is. The sun sets at like 4 o'clock. You're going to DC in a few weeks. What should you do? You got to visit the monuments, look at the reflection pool, look at the potential area for the Triumphal Arch. The National Mall, maybe they'll be setting stuff up there. Sorsby. Yeah, that Sorsby stuff is not that's no good. That's very bad. The NCAA ruled him ineligible because of betting, and then Texas Tech got an in-court injunction with a very favorable judge in Lubbock or surrounding the area. It's all a joke. I mean, my question is the NCAA just going to basically take all of their wins away if they win games with Sorsby? Vacate is the word. They're just going to vacate their wins. Clavicular has gone insane. Well, someone that young gets clout and that big that quickly, you're going to develop an ego. You really don't have any way to check yourself, and you're probably going to run into problems. It's predictable. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this live stream. I'm going to end it there. It actually really didn't storm that bad. It was just lightning and stuff. Narcissistic retard. Yeah, a lot of that stuff is just, I don't know, man. I mean, the guy made a bunch of money, so if that was his goal, but, you know, his thinking is a lot different than mine, I guess, but. All right, guys, I will see you another time.